Now listen to me. I want you to realize that no matter where you are, what circumstance you're in, or what hurdle you're facing, troubles are actually blessings disguised as challenges. You are being shaped into the kind of person who deserves to win by every single issue you are currently facing. Do you believe that life is about ease, tranquility, and waiting for things to get easier? Let me explain. Every day is a new battle, a new challenge. Life is a war that lasts for 80 years. You don't wake up and get to take a holiday after another fight. You don't solve one issue and then find yourself in paradise. Weak guys are fed that deception. In order to earn tomorrow's issues, you must solve today's. That is how warriors are made and how life operates. You also don't desire success if you don't want challenges. You've already lost if you believe that everything will be all right if I just get this one thing straight. There is no one thing, because the battle of tomorrow starts as soon as you win the one of today. Men become great in this way. That's how you transform into something that can't be stopped. What happens then when you don't have any problems? You fade, become irrelevant, and stagnate into emptiness. Observe those who have completely comfortable and quiet lives. They get up, go to their dull work, get paid, come home, relax on the couch, eat some junk food, browse through their phone, and so on. They're not struggling for anything. They're not anxious or stressed. But what do you know? On the inside, they are lifeless. Since nothing changes for them, that is worse than any issue you will ever encounter. You must have issues, because it is the fire that keeps your soul alive. You need difficulty and that daily struggle. And that's what keeps you going. The fact that you are still playing the game, fighting, and striving for something bigger is demonstrated by your problems. You want to be a man who flourishes, not one who is comfortable. You want to be powerful, dangerous, and successful. Look at the wild animals that last the longest under stress, the strongest animals, or the strongest animals who are always up against obstacles and must battle for their lives. The lion in the jungle, the wolf in the snow, the eagle soaring in the sky, they are sharp, they are aware they are alive. And then look at the animals in the zoo, fed, comfortable, protected from danger, and they sit there doing nothing, existing. And you know what? They die younger, their bodies shut down because deep down they are not living. They are just waiting to die. You think you want a peaceful life, a life without struggle? No, what you really want is to be tested. You want to be challenged, because that's the only way you will ever know what you're capable of. And if you're smart, if you're a real man, you will start looking at your problems and saying, good, bring it on. This is another opportunity to prove myself. Do you think the most successful men got there by avoiding problems, by sitting around waiting for things to get easier? No, they won't, because they ran toward the fight. They saw a challenge and took it head on. They knew that every obstacle was another opportunity to sharpen their skills, make themselves stronger, and push themselves beyond their limits. Imagine this. You're in a race, but instead of running, you sit down and complain that the track is too long, that the other runners are faster, that your shoes are comfortable. Meanwhile, the real winners are sprinting past you, pushing through exhaustion and pain, and leaving you behind. That's what happens when you sit around and complain about your problems instead of attacking them. That's why most people lose, because they don't understand that the struggle is the very thing that strengthens them. The weak men, the ones who avoid problems, who run from struggle, who cry about their situation, they are the ones who stay broke, stay unhappy, stay irrelevant, and then they blame the world, society, and the system. But the truth is, they just didn't have the balls to face their battles. They desired a simple existence, and you know what? They were ruined by that easy life. A fair shot is all you should ever hope for in this life. That's all. You require a battlefield that isn't biased against you, not favors or preferential treatment. That's all, because a fair game is easy mode if you are a true warrior and man. All it takes to win is a fair fight. Would you sit there and request a better shovel if I gave you 12 hours to dig a hole deeper than your opponent? Would you request an additional hour? No. Is it fair, you would ask? Is he not being unfaithful? All right. Since willpower is what differentiates victors from losers, I shall defeat him by sheer willpower. The ability to persevere when others give up is more important than skill or good fortune. I heard people moaning that the wealthy pay less in taxes while I was broke, and I reasoned that if I got rich, I would play the game the way it should be played. That's the mentality difference. Strong men understand the system, become proficient with it, and exploit it to their advantage. Weak guys gripe about it. I am where I am because of this, and most people will remain where they are because they are unwilling to alter their mindset. Do you wish to succeed? Then stop avoiding issues, start tackling them, stop justifying yourself, start solving problems, stop wishing for a simpler life, and start becoming stronger. That is the only way to succeed in this world, and I can assure you that 2025 will either be a year of success or failure. Everything is coming together this year. Winning is a given if you are intelligent, willing to put in the effort, and eager to dedicate yourself. However, if you do nothing, you will fall behind, and you will only be responsible for your own actions. You have an option. Issues will arise anyway. They can be viewed as either stepping stones or obstacles. You have two options: allow them to shatter you or allow them to shape you into something unstoppable. What will it be then? Will you get up and confront your issues, or will you just sit there and wait for success to come your way? Head on and take what's rightfully yours. The weak will pass, the strong will rise, and the battlefield is waiting. Are you prepared? You sit there complaining about your problems as if the universe owes you something, but the truth is that you haven't worked for it. You're struggling because you haven't realized that problems are your training ground. You can either lift them to become stronger and dominate, or you sit there weak and pathetic, hoping that one day life will take pity on you. The only thing that matters is what you do about it. You wake up every day thinking, if only I didn't have these problems, if only life were easier, which is loser talk. You don't want your life to be simple since it would indicate it's meaningless. Consider the individuals you find admirable. Every single one of the titans, the champions, and the legends of our planet overcame obstacles you could never have imagined. They didn't hope for a simpler route, because that's what real guys do. Do you notice a problem in your life? They honed their swords, constructed their armor, went to fight with life, and prevailed. Let me tell you something about men who avoid problems. They end up crushed. That's your challenge, your opportunity, and the fire that makes you into something unstoppable. I understand that you either deal with your issues like a fighter or you end up like a coward. You believe that my issues would go away if I simply had more money, better luck, or the proper opportunity. False. Your issues change. They don't go away. Allow me to clarify a point regarding achievement. You believe that money fixes issues, but it doesn't. Rent is a difficulty for a poor guy. Managing millions is a burden for a rich man. One issue is resolved, another is unlocked, and you keep upgrading. That's the way life is. What does true failure look like? Do you know? It's not having any trouble. Stasis is the same as sitting in the same spot, making the same excuses, and having the same loser mentality while you watch the years go by, hoping that one day things would change for you. The biggest deception you tell yourself is that one day is a myth. There is no such day. Want to live a different life? You accept it. You construct it. You deserved it. And you know what? It will be challenging. That should be the case. Life is asking you, are you worthy through the suffering you endure and the challenges you face? Are you deserving of success? Do you have what it takes to persevere? The majority of males don't. Most men fold. The winners stand alone as a result. Success isn't for everyone because of this. I just want a life free of stress and hardship. You think as you sit here. No pressure, do you know the term for that? A jail. You wish to live in a zoo, receive regular meals, and be housed in a cage free from threats, adversaries, and hazards. Do you know what happens to zoo animals? Since the battle is what keeps them alive, they pass away more quickly, and you are no different. You were made to battle, to adapt, to conquer. You were made to endure hardship. You have two options because you're done the moment you stop. You rise to the challenge, confront your issues, and flee them. Let me tell you something, running doesn't work. Instead, hide and get crushed. You see, life is a battlefield, and the battlefield doesn't care how exhausted you are, how unfair it feels, or how much you wish things were different. The only thing that matters is whether you are strong enough to keep fighting. Look at the men who win. Look at the champions. You think I got there by luck, but they got there because when life hit them, they hit back harder. They didn't fold under pressure. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, well, what if I fail? Let me clarify, failure is weakness, failure is leaving, and failure does not exist. The man who quits before the battle is over is a failure. You make an attempt, fail, learn, and try again. That is the foundation of winners. You lose when you stay down, not when you fall. The biggest deception they told you is that privilege is what gives you power, that connections are what make money, and that luck is what makes you successful. False. Confidence is the foundation of power. The key to success is perseverance. Either you develop into a guy who deserves his position in the world, or you disappear. So, let me ask you this. Will you continue to sit there griping about how unfair life is? Or will you stand up, confront your issues, and take what is rightfully yours? Because I will tell you this, men who refuse to lose are the ones who succeed in this world. They create the ideal moment rather than waiting for it. They take action instead of offering justifications. Additionally, you must make a choice. Will you remain the same? Are you going to break free from the same pattern and the same pitiful excuses? Take charge and create the life you are destined to lead. The answer is straightforward. You battle, you get up, and you prevail. Let me make one item now. Crystal clear, your feelings are unimportant to everyone. Get up, you're exhausted. Don't stop moving, you're under stress. Let me tell you something, the world does not stop for your feelings. Therefore, even when you are afraid, face it. What differentiates the victors from the losers is that the game doesn't pause just because you're having trouble. Winners crush issues, losers allow them to crush them. Examine your surroundings. Men who refuse to give up constructed every single object you see, including skyscrapers, businesses, and empires. Under pressure, they had the same doubts, the same fears, and the same obstacles. But instead of whining about it, instead of making excuses, they stood up and said, I'm going to win anyway, and that's exactly what you need to do. Look, life is never going to be fair. The deck has never been stacked in your favor. The world doesn't owe you anything, but guess what? That's a good thing because it means you have the power to change everything. It means you don't need permission to win. You don't need someone to hand you success. You just need to be willing to fight for it. And here's the brutal truth. Most men aren't willing to fight. They want the rewards without the work, the power without the struggle, and the success without the sacrifice. But life doesn't work like that. You want to be rich? You better outwork every man in your way. You want to be powerful? You better build yourself into someone people can't ignore. You want to be respected? You better earn it because respect isn't given. Power isn't handed out. Success isn't gifted. It's taken. And the only ones who take it are the ones who refuse to stop. So let me ask you this. Are you the kind of man who takes what he wants? Or are you the kind of man who sits around hoping that life magically hands it to him? Because let me tell you something, life doesn't give out participation trophies. Either you win or you lose. Either you are where you get crushed, and it all comes down to one thing. What are you willing to endure? See, most men will never make it, not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't have potential, but because the moment it gets hard, they quit. The second they feel pain, they run. The instant they fail, they fold, and that's why they never win, because life is testing you. Every problem you face, every obstacle in your way, is life asking you, are you strong enough? And if the answer is no, if you can't take the heat, if you can't push through, then guess what? You don't deserve to win. You don't deserve success. You don't deserve the life you dream about because success is reserved for the men who refuse to break, the ones who take the hits and keep swinging, the ones who get knocked down and get back up, and the ones who push through no matter what. That's the difference between a king and a peasant. A king understands that problems are a blessing because every time he faces a new problem, it means he's leveled up. Every obstacle he overcomes makes him stronger. Every challenge he conquers builds his empire. Every hardship he survives makes him unstoppable. That's why you should be grateful for your problems, because they are the stepping stones to your success. If you have problems, good. It means you're still in the game. It means you're still fighting. It means you still have the chance to win. But the moment your life becomes easy, the moment you have no problems, that's when you should be scared, because that means you're stagnant. That means you're not growing. That means you're dead inside. Look, the choice is yours. You can either be the man who faces his problems head-on and uses them to build himself into something legendary, or you can be the man who runs from his problems, who hides, who makes excuses until one day he wakes up and realizes he wasted his entire life. And let me tell you something, that regret is worse than any problem you will ever face. So what are you going to do? Are you going to keep complaining, or are you going to take control? Rise up and conquer every single challenge in your way. The choice is yours. Now go win. You've sat here, you've listened, and now you're at a crossroads. Two paths lie ahead of you. One is the path of mediocrity, the path most men take, the easy path, the comfortable path, the path where you stay the same, never push yourself, and never take risks. It's safe, predictable, and completely meaningless. The other path is the path of warriors, the path of conquerors, the path of men who refuse to be average. It's hard, it's brutal, it weighs you in ways you can't even imagine, but it's the only path that leads to greatness. And let me tell you something, if you do not choose that path, you have already lost. Because here's the truth, most men will never choose it. Most men will wake up tomorrow and go right back to their pathetic routine, right back to their lazy habits, right back to their excuses, and life will crush them. They will live and die as nobody's forgotten by history, buried under their own weakness. But you are not most men, because if you were, you wouldn't still be here, you wouldn't still be listening, you wouldn't still feel that fire burning inside of you, that voice inside your head, the one telling you that you were meant for more. That voice is right. But here's the thing about that voice, it does not speak forever. If you ignore it, if you keep making excuses, if you keep waiting for the right time, that voice will fade, and one day you will wake up and realize it's gone. And when that happens, you're done, because that's how men die. Before they're even in the ground, they don't die when their heart stops beating. They die the moment they stop fighting, and the moment they accept the life they never wanted, the moment they give up on the man they were meant to be. And that moment is right now. This is your test, this is your battle. This is the moment life is looking you dead in the eyes and asking, are you strong enough? Were you ready to take what's yours? Or are you going to fold like every other weak man before you? The choice is yours. Right now, you decide. You either step up, face your problems, and become the man you were born to be, or you walk away from this, do nothing, and waste your life like every other. Control them. This is the moment. This is the fork in the road. This is your defining second. What will you choose? Will you be remembered, or will you be forgotten? Because let me tell you something, only the strong write history, the weak, they become nothing. Now go rise, conquer, dominate, or fade into obscurity like the rest. The decision is yours.